Honored guests, the academic procession has begun its approach to the Veal Center. Please clear the aisles and procession routes and take your seats. Good morning, honored guests. Welcome to Case Western Reserve University's annual Commencement Convocation. Following the British custom, a procession for a ceremony such as commencement may be led by an official bearing a mace or staff, or supervised by a marshal carrying a baton or other symbol of office. A mace is a symbol of authority, originating in the military tradition and carried by a marshal. In universities, the mace may be of any length and is carried by the university marshal on all ceremonial occasions. The marshal's mace in our university is patterned after the baton carried by the drum major of a Highland pipe band. The Case Western Reserve University mace was presented to the university by President and Mrs. Louis A. Tepfer in May 1979. It is made of walnut with a sterling silver crown embossed with the seal of the university. The mace was designed by William Stearns of Potter and Mellon. The medal worn by the president was the gift of President John S. Millis at the time of the 1967 Federation that created Case Western Reserve University. The chain was originally made for a Western Reserve University President's Medal and was the gift of students in Adelbert College. The robe worn by President Eric W. Kaler signifies his rank and authority as the chief official of the institution, rather than reflecting his academic credentials. The president's robe bears the seal of the university and 4 velvet bars, known as chevrons, on the sleeves. Standard doctoral robes feature only 3 chevrons. Since 2003, a version of this custom regalia has been worn by our doctoral and professional graduates. This ceremony includes the garb of participating faculty and students, a colorful relic of the medieval scholastic tradition. The origins of academic dress date back to the early universities of the 12th and 13th centuries. The long gown evolved from the monk's habit, and the hood from the cowl that monks wore over their heads. Some legends say the mortarboard has origins in the skull caps worn by those officiating at religious services. Others say the cap resembles a scholar's book and came from Oxford University. The tassel, worn on the square of the mortarboard, was developed in the 15th century when caps and hats came into fashion. These various gowns and hoods preserve the style of their medieval origin and indicate by color and design the degree and the institution by which the degree was conferred. Black is the basic color for gowns in the United States. The bachelor's gown is distinguished by its long open sleeves. The master's by its oblong sleeves, open at the wrist. The doctor's by its full sleeves trimmed with bands of velvet. The velvet on a doctor's gown may be black or a color distinctive of the disciplines to which the degree pertains. The academic hoods vary in length according to the degree and are lined with the colors of the institution from which the degree was earned. The hoods of Case Western Reserve University are lined with blue and silver. The academic procession is led by University Marshal Dr. Joy Bostick, President Eric W. Kaler, and members of the Board of Trustees. The platform party includes our honorary degree recipients and other award winners. The platform party is followed by members of the university faculty and emeriti faculty. Leading the faculty are the distinguished university professors, identified by their position in line and by their medals. The remaining faculty process in order of the date of the first degree earned. The heraldic banners have their origins in medieval custom and were originally used to identify institutions during both battle and ceremony. The banners of Case Western Reserve University have been designed to signify each of the current schools and colleges united by the seal of the university. The banners are carried by senior graduates of Mortarboard, the National Senior Honor Society. Our convocation speaker today is the Honorable Justin Bibb, Mayor of the City of Cleveland. Justin Bibb earned both his law and graduate business degrees from Case Western Reserve in 2018. Last fall, he won a landslide victory to become Cleveland's 58th mayor. Bibb grew up in the city's Mount Pleasant neighborhood, attending Trinity High School in Garfield Heights, before earning his bachelor's degree in urban studies from American University. While at American, Bibb interned with then Senator Barack Obama and spent a year at the London School of Economics, studying urban development and economics. His career includes stints at for-profit entities such as Gallup and Key Bank, as well as nonprofit organizations like Urbanova. While at Case Western Reserve, Bibb participated in campus groups focused on entrepreneurship, corporate finance, and law. He also joined the boards of other organizations, including Destination Cleveland and the Ohio chapter of Teach for America. During the convocation ceremony, we will present 2 honorary degrees. John L. Anderson, Ph.D. Dr. Anderson is president of the National Academy of Engineering. He previously served as president of the Illinois Institute of Technology and as provost and executive vice president at Case Western Reserve University. Mark Gelfand. Mark Gelfand is a Cleveland native who has strong family ties to the university. Both his mother Dolores and his uncle Len were Case Institute of Technology and Case Western Reserve graduates. His father attended Western Reserve University's pharmacy school. He earned an undergraduate degree in physics from Carnegie Mellon University and went on to establish Intech Solutions, a financial software and services firm. During this ceremony, we will also present the President's Award for Visionary Achievement to Frank N. Linsalata. A Northeast Ohio native, Frank graduated with honors from Case Institute of Technology in 1963 and earned his MBA at Harvard Business School. In 1984, he launched Linsalata Capital Partners, a private equity firm that has achieved extraordinary success over the past 38 years. In 1999, he joined the Case Western Reserve Board of Trustees, and as board chair, went on to lead the university's first capital campaign in 17 years. The forward-thinking campaign went on to raise $1.8 billion, exceeding the original campaign goal by more than $800 million. Mr. Linsalata and his family have also provided generous philanthropic support to university hospitals, Youngstown State University, and several other area nonprofit organizations. Honored guests, please rise for the academic procession. Honored guests, University Marshal Joy Bostic.
The 2022 Commencement Convocation Ceremony of Case Western Reserve University is hereby convened. Please stand and remain standing for the National Anthem and for the invocation.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Honored guests, please remain standing for the invocation delivered by Imam Ramez Islambouli. Imam Islambouli is a Case Western Reserve double alumnus, full-time lecturer of Arabic, and a member of the Case Western Reserve University Interreligious Council.
Eternal God, most merciful, most compassionate, whose image lies within us, along with the capability for care and grace. Bless us here, many as we are, different as we may be, diverse as we are, yet gathered here in a common spirit dedicated to the wholeness and well-being of others. We trust that you will never withhold your guidance and strength from those who selflessly serve others, that your blessing is always upon those who reach out to others to heal not only body, but mind and spirit as well. In these moments, we offer thanksgiving for those who teach and for those who learn. We give you thanks for the time that has passed, sometimes wearily, sometimes with pleasure, yet always bearing fruits of good learning and favor. And we celebrate the years that have brought us to this day, which now fulfills cherished childhood dreams, ambiguous adolescent hopes, and the steady expectation of mature minds. We stand together even as we prepare to depart separately, sustained by accomplishments, hard-earned, and by the eagerness to face new expectations, waiting to shape a newer world. So, Almighty God, we ask you to send these graduates with good courage to search this world wisely for new meaning, to explore the deeper places of truth, to live honorably with goodness and charity. Let them find delight in the work that lies ahead and practice diligently the arts that have shaped them, the sciences that have defined them, the vocations and professions to which they have dedicated their lives. and so build up the foundations of character by a bolder vision of hope for the dawning of a new day. We invoke your presence in this time of celebration, that our every achievement might find appreciation, and our every hope find fulfillment through the Spirit of all life. We humbly pray, Amen.
Please be seated. The President of Case Western Reserve University, Eric W. Kaler.
Good morning. Good morning. Much better. It is my great honor to congratulate you today, the Case Western Reserve University class of 2022. This is a happy day. Welcome everyone, graduates, their families, guests, members of our esteemed faculty and staff, distinguished award winners, university trustees, and honorary degree recipients. I also want to acknowledge those who could not join us today for the celebration of the class of 2022. I'm pleased to welcome today's convocation speaker and the Mayor of Cleveland, the Honorable Justin M. Bibb. We are grateful that his mother, Charlene Nicholas Bibb, is with us today as well. And to those of you who are watching us via live stream, we're so glad you've joined us remotely. There are several members of the Board of Trustees who are with us today. Trustees Frank Linsalata, Bob Pavey, and Rex Tibbins, and our board chair, Fred DeSanto. Fred has served on the Board of Trustees since 2012, and his extraordinary support of Case Western Reserve is evident throughout our campus, in athletics, in student scholarships, and at our health education campus. Fred is chairman and chief executive officer of Ancora, a leading wealth management asset firm. And we are so proud that Fred is not once but a twice alumnus, having received both an undergraduate degree and an MBA at Case Western Reserve. He is also a highly decorated Spartan athlete. He is the only university athlete to earn 12 varsity letters. He earned 4 each in football, basketball, and baseball. Fred, thank you for your leadership and your continued dedication to Case Western Reserve, and I invite you to share a few words with us.
Thank you, President Kaler. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I would like to congratulate all of our graduates this morning. I would also like to acknowledge their families and welcome them to our campus, members of our alumni, faculty, staff, and distinguished guests. Case Western Reserve has evolved in so many ways since its origin in 1826. But what has remained central to this university, and will still guide us today, is an enduring commitment to students across all aspects of learning, researching, performing, and competing. I know I would not be the same person I am today if I didn't experience the Case Western Reserve University for the 5 years that I was here. My hope is that each of you feels the same. I also hope that your experience here, including the times that were the most challenging, enables you to move forward with confidence, compassion, and a curiosity about the world and its people. Because those are the qualities that lead our graduates to make bold discoveries, to lead in ways that positively impact human lives, and to become agents for change in the world. We hope that you will remain connected to Case Western Reserve in the years to come. You're always welcome here. We wish you all the best in your path ahead. Congratulations to our class of 2022.
The President's Award for Visionary Achievement recognizes individuals who have distinguished themselves through significant and exceptional support to Case Western Reserve University. Recipients of this award demonstrate a history of prominent philanthropic engagement and service that benefits our community and the broader community. This year, we are honored to bestow this award on Frank Linsalata. Frank is among our most distinguished alumni. He's a longtime trustee and an active member of our university community. It is an understatement to say that this university would not be the same without his leadership, his generosity, and his commitment to student success. Frank grew up right here in Northeast Ohio and graduated from the Case Institute of Technology with his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering in 1963. After that, he earned an MBA at the Harvard Business School. He spent his early career in leadership roles at the Midland Ross Corporation before launching his own successful private equity firm, Linsalata Capital Partners, in 1984. Frank has been a member of the Board of Trustees since 1999 and served as the board's chair from 2004 to 2008. He led the board's 2006 presidential search, and he chaired the university's forward-thinking capital campaign, a $1 billion campaign that not only achieved its initial goal years ahead of schedule, but exceeded it by $800 million. During the capital campaign, Frank and his wife Jocelyn, who's also here today, also made significant contributions to the Tinkerville University Center, as well as undergraduate scholarships. In 2008, Frank's colleagues on the Board of Trustees recognized his efforts with the University Medal, the highest honor the board can bestow for leadership, dedication, and service. And then in 2013, Frank and Jocelyn marked his 50th class reunion by pledging $4 million to transform the university's alumni house into today's expanded Linsalata Alumni Center, a beautiful space that hosts events, meetings, and programs year-round. Frank is a member of the Northeast Ohio Business Hall of Fame. He's a trustee emeritus of Laurel School in Shaker Heights, and he's a past trustee of NCH Health System in Naples, Florida. Through the years, Frank and Jocelyn have also provided support to university hospitals, local public radio, and Jocelyn's alma mater, Youngstown State University, among many, many other nonprofit organizations. Frank, for all you have done to advance our Case Western Reserve community and for your contributions to the region's business and nonprofit communities, it is my honor to present you with the 2022 President's Award for Visionary Achievement. I regret that Provost Vinson is unable to join us this morning, but we're fortunate that Joy Ward, the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, has graciously agreed to step in.
Mr. President, on behalf of the Honorary Degree Committee of the Case Western Reserve University faculty, it is my distinct honor to present candidates for degrees honoris causa. The first candidate is Mark Gelfand, recipient of the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Mark Gelfand is a Cleveland native and a special friend of the university who is dedicated to ensuring that young people have access to high-quality, hands-on STEM learning opportunities. Mark's philanthropy was inspired by his own childhood. He was a curious child whose passion for tinkering was encouraged by his uncle, Leonard Gelfand, a Case Institute of Technology graduate and an engineer. Mark went on to earn his bachelor's degree in physics from Carnegie Mellon University. He also founded Intex Solutions, the firm credited with developing the standard calculator for the international structural financial markets. As a father to 3 sons, all of whom are now grown and are engineers, Mark was concerned by the lack of STEM instruction for children, especially those without resources. Guided by his belief that inside every child is a scientist, Mark then began launching STEM initiatives across the United States and around the world. The Leonard Gelfand STEM Center at Case Western Reserve, named for Mark's uncle, engages thousands of local pre-K to 12 students in active discovery and design opportunities that introduce them to scientific concepts and inspire a lasting interest in science and engineering. His nonprofit, STEM Power, has established STEM centers in Israel, Ethiopia, and across sub-Saharan Africa. Currently, there are 66 of these centers in Africa, with 16 more in progress, and a goal of 100 centers by 2023. The centers reach hundreds of thousands of African students each year, inspiring them to pursue a future in STEM fields, just as Mark did.
Mark Gelfand, for your exceptional and impactful work that makes high-quality STEM education accessible to students around the world, and for your continued encouragement of students who wish to pursue STEM learning, and on the recommendation of the university faculty and the Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to admit you to the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto, to bestow upon you the hood of this university and to grant you this diploma.
Mr. President, on behalf of the Honorary Degree Committee of the Case Western Reserve University faculty, I present John Anderson as a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Engineering honoris causa. Dr. Anderson is president of the prestigious National Academy of Engineering and is among the country's most outstanding chemical engineers. He has held leadership positions at prominent universities, including Provost and Executive Vice President of Case Western Reserve University and President of the Illinois Institute of Technology. He also spent 28 years on the faculty of Carnegie Mellon University, where he was Dean of the College of Engineering and head of the Department of Chemical Engineering. Dr. Anderson was elected to the National Academy of Engineering in 1992. He is a fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences and the American Association for the Advancement of Science. Between 2014 and 2020, Dr. Anderson was a presidential appointee to the National Science Board. He is the recipient of many awards, including the Acrovos Professional Progress Award of the American Institute of Chemical Engineering, a Guggenheim Fellowship, and the National Engineering Award from the American Association of Engineering Societies. He has held visiting professor positions at MIT, the University of Melbourne in Australia, and Wageningen University in the Netherlands. A native of Wilmington, Delaware, Dr. Anderson earned his bachelor's degree from the University of Delaware and a PhD from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, both in chemical engineering.
John Anderson, for your many accomplishments in engineering and for your dedication to students as an educator and for your commitment to advancing the field of engineering in business, academia, and society. And on the recommendation of the university faculty and the Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to admit you to the degree of Doctor of Engineering, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto, and to both bestow upon you the hood of this university and to grant you this diploma. Just last month, I was pleased and honored to welcome the Honorable Cleveland Mayor Justin M. Bibb back to his alma mater. He delivered his very first State of the City address just a few blocks away from here inside Silver Hall at the Maltz Performing Arts Center. And today, we welcome Mayor Bibb back to campus again, this time to be your Convocation speaker. We are very proud of Mayor Bibb, who is a 2018 graduate of the Case Western Reserve School of Law and the Weatherhead School of Management. In fact, he has shared that the degrees he earned from Case Western Reserve strengthened his belief that he could one day lead this city. We are honored to have played such a critical role in his life. Born and raised in Cleveland, Mayor Bibb has been a leader in government, business, and the nonprofit sector. He's also served on the university's Government Relations Advisory Committee. Mayor Bibb is a champion for change, and we are honored that he joins us today to inspire you to achieve, serve, and lead. Please welcome to the podium your 2022 Convocation speaker, the 58th Mayor of the City of Cleveland, Justin Bibb.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good morning, graduates. I'm just so delighted to be back on campus to celebrate your achievements today. Now, I know it's Sunday morning, and I grew up in the Baptist church, and Mr. President, as my pastor would say, I'm not gonna hold you too long, but trust me, I mean it. Because I know you all have a lot of celebrating to do. Thank you to President Kaler, the Board of Trustees, deans, faculty, and staff for the invitation to be here. It truly is an honor and a privilege. To the families, friends, and loved ones of the graduates with us today and here in spirit, congratulations and thank you for all you've done to support the class of 2022. Let's give them a round of applause. Now, in case they haven't told you yet today, these graduates appreciate all you've done to help them get here. No one makes it to this wonderful day alone. For a minute, I want you to take a moment to look around at your friends, your colleagues, your mentors, and your teachers, and remember this moment. Let it really sink in. Take all the selfies and boomerangs you can. Take your time today to really mark the end of this important and formative chapter, because the relationships you've made right here are just as important as your newly minted degrees. Treasure them and do your best to keep them as you launch into the next chapter of your lives. As a double alumnus of this university, I can tell you that I continue to rely on the relationships and the connections that I made right here as a student. I found my home at the Weatherhead School of Management and at the law school, just as I know you found your home in your respective schools and programs. And for the record, the Alumni Association did not tell me to tell you this, but I do encourage you to stay connected to CASE and to each other. Use the resources and connections that they offer you to help you on the journey ahead. Because trust me, you will need them every single day as you chart your next chapter. Now, I'm the mayor, but I'm not here to talk to you today about politics or policy or the challenges that the world is looking for all of you to solve. Well, at least not right at the gate. But instead, I want to talk to you about your why. What brought you to this moment? And the questions you're asking yourselves about what's next. Because I have no doubt that many of you, being the smart, organized, and analytical CASE students that you are, know exactly where you're headed and have every step of the way all planned out, researched, footnoted, the whole 9 yards. Medical students are headed to residencies, law students to clerkships, undergrads to grad school, and exciting first jobs. But these are just the opening lines of your next chapter and the continuation of a long journey ahead. It is such an exciting time. Now, as you keep writing your story, I encourage you to engage with the world around you and hone in on your why. What motivates you? What energizes you? What keeps you up at night? Engage with these things and really explore them, even if it takes you on a plan that you didn't expect. And I know this from firsthand experience. My story, like many of my generation, was significantly impacted by 9/11. The day our nation experienced a horrific terrorist attack that killed nearly 3,000 Americans. I was a freshman in high school on this terrible day and was still processing the events and the impact they had on our nation when I started my undergrad at American University in Washington, D.C. just 4 years later. At the time, I was studying international relations, political science, and was learning Arabic. My plan was to get involved in anything and everything that could help me unpack this tragedy and play whatever role I could in ensuring that nothing like that ever happened again to our country. Now, some of you may also know that I had a dream from a very young age of becoming mayor of our great city of Cleveland, Ohio. But I felt deep in my heart that I was being called elsewhere too. You see, 9/11 captured me so deeply at the time, and it was my why. But then I had a pivot. I landed a fellowship to do community organizing in the southeast side of D.C. And at the time, D.C. had some of the highest rates of high school dropouts in the country, some of the highest rates of HIV and AIDS that rivaled third world nations. And in many ways, it reminded me of my block in Cleveland on the southeast side where I grew up. I saw the people, the poverty, and the inequity. I also saw the opportunities for improvement and change. By that time, I had also been heavily influenced by an extraordinary leader that I met during my freshman year as a Capitol intern, President Barack Obama, when he was serving in the U.S. Senate. And struggling with which path to take, I asked the president for some advice. And I remember this day very vividly. We were eating pizza out of a box in the conference room, and he said to me, "Justin, your aim in life should be to do something, not just be anything. Focus on the impact. Focus on the impact." So I decided to start a new chapter. I began in earnest to gather the skills, the education, and experience I knew I would one day need to run for mayor one day. The seeds of my campaign were planted. Now, I just had to do the work, just like all of you in this room have done and continue to do the work for what's next. Now, believe me when I say that I heard every reason you can imagine about why I should not run for mayor and why I couldn't win. They said I was a newcomer, that I hadn't paid my political dues. They called me naive and just a kid. They talked about how I had limited job and life experiences. They told me that I had to wait my turn. The list goes on. But as it turns out, the naysayers and detractors were wrong. And no doubt in your lives, as you leave Case today, you'll have people in your lives from time to time who hope to convince you that you can't do the things that you dream about doing. But I'm here to tell you two things about that. Number one, trust your gut, not the noise. Number two, don't let anyone make you afraid to fail, because failure is life's most important teacher. When we are too afraid to try, we will always regret it later. And I'm here to tell you this, that you got this, and this is your moment. This This is your time to be bold, to challenge the status quo, and to be fearless. And if you know anything about Case's history, you know that you will be in a very good company as you go after your big, audacious dreams. So many notable alumni and world-changing discoveries have come out of this university over the last 196 years. One of my personal heroes, the late, great Lou Stokes, Ohio's first black congressman, graduated right here in 1954. A year later, civil rights icon Fred Gray received his degree from the law school. Stephanie Tubbs Jones shattered barriers as Ohio's first black woman to become a common pleas judge, county prosecutor, and congresswoman. Four Nobel laureates, Paul Berg, Farouk Murad, Edward C. Prescott, and Richard Thaler, changed the world with discoveries in biochemistry, medicine, and economic sciences. And today, you join the ranks of scholars, inventors, activists, innovators, and icons. Incredible people who have done extraordinary things and have made history. And things did not always go as planned. Just down the street, in the basement of a dormitory in July 1887, Albert Michelson and Edward Morley tried to detect the motion of the Earth through the luminiferous aether, a theoretical substance which, according to 19th century physics, was essential to the transmission of light. Their negative result ultimately became what has been called the most famous failed experiment in history. For 18 years, members of the scientific community were puzzled over the result until in 1905, the Michelson-Morley experiment was not only explained, but also used as confirmation for Einstein's theory of relativity. You see, even in failure, because of it, in fact, this experiment was so important that over 100 years later, the site of the former Adelbert Dormitory on the Case Mall was named an American Physical Society historic site for its significance to the field. What an incredible shoulders for you all to stand on, and what an incredible legacy that you have inherited. As you write your next chapter, what will be your place in this legacy? Just several weeks ago, while at a mayor's conference in DC, I had the opportunity to hear Congressman Jim Clyburn share something that moved me in a very profound way. He was reflecting on our nation's long march toward the promise of justice and opportunity for all, and the role that Dr. King had in helping move the moral consciousness of America during the Civil Rights Movement. Congressman Clyburn talked about King's notion of time as described in the famous letter from the Birmingham jail. In that letter, King asserts that we as humans sometimes irrationally assume that the flow of time will inevitably cure all ills. Challenging this notion, King proclaims that time is neutral. He profoundly says that time can be used either destructively or constructively, and that the people of ill will have used their time much more effectively than the people of goodwill. So the question I want to leave with you today is, how will you spend your time when you leave this place? I pray you choose to join me in the army of goodwill and live out the values you have learned right here at this university. Cleveland needs you. America needs you. The world needs you. Stay strong, stay humble, and always, always have the courage to dream big. Congratulations to the class of 2022. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Bibb. Thank you for encouraging our graduates to go boldly, to challenge themselves, and to embrace the lessons of failure. You've given them much to consider as they move forward. You've inspired us today, and we're very grateful. Thank you.
The deans of the undergraduate schools and the college will now present candidates for degrees to be conferred today. Also to be presented are graduates whose undergraduate degrees were officially conferred in August and January and who have returned to participate in today's ceremony. Degrees for graduates of the graduate and professional schools are being conferred at their respective ceremonies. The undergraduate candidates from the Weatherhead School of Management, the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing, the Case School of Engineering, and the College of Arts and Sciences will be presented by Deans Manoj Malhotra, Carol Musil, Raghu Balakrishnan, and Joy Ward, respectively.
Mr. President, I have the honor of presenting from the Weatherhead School of Management candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science in Accounting and Bachelor of Science in Management.
Will these candidates please rise and remain standing?
Mr. President, I have the honor of presenting from the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Nursing.
Will these candidates please rise and remain standing?
Mr. President, I have the honor of presenting from the Case School of Engineering candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Bachelor of Science in Data Science and Analytics, and Bachelor of Science in Engineering.
Will these candidates and all the candidates we've already introduced rise and remain standing?
Mr. President, I have the honor of presenting from the College of Arts and Sciences candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science as described in the program.
Will these candidates rise and remain standing, please?
These candidates, having met all the requirements of their course of study, have been certified to the Board of Trustees as meriting the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science as described in the program. Now the magic words. By order of the Board of Trustees and by virtue of the authority vested in me, I now confer upon these candidates their degrees and admit them to the honors, rights, privileges, and obligations pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Now you may please be seated.
In recognition of the degrees just conferred, diplomas will be presented by each dean at the undergraduate diploma ceremony following this convocation. Graduates, once again, congratulations. It's now my pleasure to introduce Aishwarya Arjunan, President of the Alumni Association, to which you now belong, of Case Western Reserve University. She's a dear friend of the university who earned her undergraduate degree in biology in 2010. Aishwarya is a dedicated alumna, and she's now serving the university in her 6th year as a member of the Alumni Association Board of Directors. She's a genetic counselor by training and works as a medical science liaison at Grail Incorporated. She lives in Chicago, and today she joins us to provide the official welcome to our newest alumni.
Thank you, President Kaler. You guys did it. Hi, everyone. My name is Aishwarya Arjun, and as President Kaler mentioned, on behalf of the Alumni Association, it is my distinct honor to extend an enthusiastic congratulations to all of our graduates and to welcome you, our newest members, as you join a proud and distinguished network of more than 110,000 alumni across the country and world. Take it all in, because I know it's kind of crazy right now, and thinking back 12 years ago when this was happening to me, I just can't believe how fast everything went. But as you take the next step of your journey, you will undoubtedly continue to build upon the legacy of Case Western Reserve University alumni, one of excellence, innovation, service, and leadership. Our Alumni Association is full of people like you, people who are exceptional, hardworking, committed, and aware, motivated by talented classmates from all walks of life. You did more than survive the tough winters and being stretched beyond your comfort zone by the best professors in their fields. You thrived in one of the most unprecedented and uncertain times in our history. I'm sure you're getting a little tired of hearing that over and over again. But I graduated with my classmates during the Great Recession, and I know what it's like to leave CWRU in the midst of incredible uncertainty. I know how uncomfortable and frankly frustrating it can be to transition into a new place of life amidst unprecedented times. So when I say that you can trust that the university has prepared you for your future, it's because I watched my classmates do what you're all about to do. And as Mayor Bibb said, we encourage you to stay connected to one another, to the university, and to its faculty, staff, and students. Visit our Alumni Association website, check out all the updates and volunteer opportunities that are available. Join CWRU Connect and the Alumni Career Network. You never know who you're going to meet once you graduate. This is just the start of your connection to the university. Connect with fellow alumni that share your career field, where your interest, where you end up moving, and follow the Alumni Association across, of course, all of the various social media platforms. We look forward to providing you with many opportunities for you to show your pride, stay involved with the university, and engage with your fellow alumni. And one thing to remember, many of us are here because our alumni give back. We really honor those that paved the way for our successes and pass on our rich history to future generations as we continue to build the future each day. No matter where your life and career may take you, the Alumni Association will always be here. You're always welcome to your home away from home, which is the Linsalata Alumni Center. So thank you, Frank. And I really hope to see you in October for homecoming and whenever your travels lead you back to Cleveland. There hasn't been a year in the last 12 years that I actually haven't come back to Cleveland and visited the university and seen my friends. And so, as Mayor Bibb said, make sure to take all of your selfies. I'm actually going to take the first selfie with all of you as alumni of the university. So let me figure this out while we're up here. It's going to be a really great angle, but we'll make it work. There we go. I think I got everyone. Again, congratulations. You guys deserve it. I'm so excited for you and what's to come. Think beyond the possible and shine on. Congratulations, everyone.
Please rise and join us in the singing of the alma mater, which can be found on page 6 of your program. Our alma mater will be led by our singer, Anna Skelton.
Shine on forever,
This concludes our convocation. Undergraduate candidates will remain at their seats, and our undergraduate diploma ceremony will follow shortly. We will have a brief intermission before we begin our undergraduate diploma ceremony. Thank you.
Honored guests, please enjoy this brief intermission while members of the platform party exit to their next ceremony location. The undergraduate diploma ceremony will begin at 10:30 a.m.